Look at this. A city once home to millions of humans, now abandoned and overrun with zombies. But these aren't your average zombies. They're more bloodthirsty, don't burn in the sun, and mutates into horrifying creatures over time. Despite how hard this was, we decided to survive in this infested city alone. Or so we thought. Before this ends, we want a fully functional base loaded with traps to kill off a mutated experiment that went rogue, and finally kill off the worst of all creatures, the dreadful heat mummy. In this video, we survived 100 days in a post-apocalyptic city. Can we pull this off without a single death? Watch till the end of the video to find out. Also, thank you all so much for 65,000 subscribers. We're aiming for 100,000 next, so if you could hit that subscribe button, it'll mean the world to me. Finally, hit the like button for the algorithm, and let's get straight into it. Day 1. We were on the top floor of a building, and before we knew it, Miles was blown away by a storm. He didn't even do anything. Usually this would start off with us getting wood, but nope. I guess Minecraft had something else in mind. And without a second to waste, Miles was then gone. He was taken by the tornado. Talk about a clingy relationship. And if you thought that was bad, he was not the only one that was blown away by the storm, because shortly afterwards, I was taken too. We tried our very best to fight the storm, but we really couldn't do much. We were being blown onto a building, and Miles thought to break the window and actually enter the building to get into safety. It was going pretty well for us. This was the first building, well, besides the one we got blown out of by the tornado, that we could actually loot. Now, here's the thing about Miles. He's like a child, you know? You leave him be for too long and he gets himself into a lot of danger. A very risky person, so I had to keep my eye on him. And despite that, I still managed to lose him. He went to the top of the building, jumped out of a window on top of another building for some reason, and ended up inside a different one. Like, what? There's a tornado going around. Why would you even go outside? As the responsible friend I am, I decided to take it upon myself to get there as well, just so he doesn't get into any more danger. By the time I actually entered the infrastructure, I find out that Miles jumped out of a window, but he kind of used the storm to his advantage, so I did the exact same thing to get down to him so we can get to safety. What both me and Miles didn't put into account is all of the creatures that were around us. Not only were there zombies, but there were also skeletons all over the place. I tried my very best to get back into the building, but when I made a huge leap for it, I noticed the masses of skeletons aimed down on sight at us. They had all guns on decks, bruh. We had no way of actually moving with the storm being there, but we decided to do something a little interesting. Instead of walking on normal land where it pushes us back, we decided to go a little bit underground and dig ourselves a little bit of a burrow. Upon making this, we also found a bit of a cave. Didn't have any wood, so we couldn't explore it. Neither did we have torches to actually see. We used the burrow to finally reach some trees. By the time we got up, the storm was kind of gone, kind of not. At least it didn't push us anywhere anymore, but we also managed to get ourselves the first bit of wood of the series. Crafted myself a pickaxe, and right as we thought that the storm was getting a little less severe, it started picking up again. But this time, reasonably, we actually went inside before getting blown away by it. Right, Miles? Days 2 to 5. We explored floor by floor and eventually found ourselves a spawner. We didn't know what it was, but it ended up being a spider spawner, and we completely booked it. We knew that the zombies were bad, but we had no clue as to what the spiders were like, and we really didn't want to risk it. A couple floors above that, we found another room with spawners. I quickly acted and broke the spawners. Then I ran to the back and found myself a chest. We got some food in there, a bunch of obsidian, and a little bit of iron. Okay, you're not gonna see me complaining. That was not a bad chest. Miles, on the other hand, managed to find another spawner, but it was a skeleton spawner, and he got jumped by the skeletons and ended up in a corner. I don't even know how he managed that, but he blocked himself off. I went to the floor below him. I told him to heal up a bit because he was gonna take a little bit of fall damage. Okay, heal up, heal up. Let me know when you're healed up.
I survived. I'm a survivor.
Let me know when you healed up. Before I knew it, he was down. There we go. Now he owes me one. We leave the building just to encounter one of the zombies walking around during broad daylight. We get to see it up close and personal. And as you guys know, once it hits nighttime, the zombies are twice as fast. So I quickly booked it into the building because it was just about sunset time. And that building was filled with mobs. So we quickly went to the top of the building as fast as we could while pushing the mobs aside. The roof seemed like a good idea because it was far away from the mobs, but if a storm hit, we were kind of screwed. I looked over to one of the sides and I saw water, but right when I thought we were safe and sound, Miles had shoved me off of the building. But don't worry, he didn't decide to dip on me. He actually jumped off himself. What a crazy person. We continued collecting a bunch of resources, and I'm not even joking. Miles, on the roof of one of the buildings, started screaming, "There's a horse up here." And when I went there to go check it out, it was not a horse. But Miles decided to punch it anyways, and we booked it for our lives. Also, somehow I managed to get myself some snake eggs. We started hearing some snakes nearby, nearby as well and began searching a bit. Days 6 to 10. A huge chunk of this time was also just continuing the exploration of the city. There was a lot to see and we wanted a bunch of loot before we actually decided to settle down. Oh, and there were crabs. Those were pretty cool. After all of that exploration, we found ourselves on a bit of a bridge. We didn't know where it led besides this little secluded area from the rest of the city, and we kind of liked it. Right at the dead center of the area we just stepped in was this one building that was secluded from all of the others. All four sides were disconnected from the rest of the city within that area. I looked up at it and I was like, yeah, this is going to be our base. And obviously, before we could claim it as ours, there were a bunch of complications. One of the biggest complications was the fact that there's a bunch of mobs swarming the place, so we had to go floor by floor to actually take care of it. We also haven't got mining, which means we don't have coal, which also means that we don't have torches to light up the area so that the mobs don't spawn in the first place. Despite this, we decided to still look through the building to see what we can do with it. There was a bunch of floors and there was a ladder system that led straight to the top. Days 11 to 15. Miles thought it would be a good idea to go mining, which he wasn't wrong. I, on the other hand, wanted to get myself some wool because I wanted us to have beds. I started looking around the area and finally I found myself some sheep after climbing the top of one of the buildings. Made myself some sneers and started snipping away. I wasn't gonna kill the sheep because I needed their wool and they were gonna regenerate some anyways. I tried bringing the sheep back to the base, but it didn't really work out the way I planned it to. We got attacked by a couple things, but we sliced them up. And right when I thought I caught a break, I decided to go into one of the floors, and for some reason, there were like a bajillion spiders within that room, and all I could do was hold up my shield. If it wasn't for Miles being right behind me, breaking the blocks, just so I can escape, I probably would have died then. But we escaped, going two separate ways for some reason. During this situation, there was another problem that persisted, and that's the fact that my health for some reason did not regenerate despite me eating food. I had to eat a golden apple just to regenerate some of the hearts to make sure that I don't die. My heart's not regenerating. The solution to it was very simple. We just needed different types of foods because I got used to the food that I kept on eating, which in this case was the bread. So once we figured that out, it was pretty simple from there. The next morning, we were on top of the building next to our base, or what we were gonna make into our base, obviously, before the mob started swarming it and almost killed me. Despite us figuring out how the new food system works, we didn't have much variety in that situation. Oh, in the meantime, while I was trying to regenerate my health, Miles, on the other hand, decided to hatch a snake egg. Who in their right mind in this situation decides to just hatch a snakeling? A freaking snakeling, dude. Whatever. And for some reason, he also named it Feet. I don't question him, okay? We don't question Miles. Miles is something. Now, when I say this health regeneration took long, I mean this health regeneration took freaking ages. I literally couldn't do anything and I was just thinking of different ways to get different types of food. We didn't know that many. Eventually, it became really dark, but looking from the side of the building, we then come to see that there is a gigantic crab staring us down. Now, when you see something gigantic, you know, you'd normally move away from it, but us? No. We went straight to the crab. Miles attempted to give it a little bit of a 1-2, but he couldn't reach the crab, and it looked really stupid. He eventually gave up and went over to me and said, hey, why don't you do it, you know? I'm like, okay, using my big brain, I decided to climb the building and hit it on my way down. But when I was up there, Miles pushed me off. Classic Miles. What we didn't take into account for was while the crab was distracting us, an entire invasion of zombies started appearing and chasing us. It was ridiculous. It was like one of the lines you find at Black Friday. Crazy. Day 16 to 20. After being chased around by a bunch of zombies, we eventually decided, you know what? It's time to get serious, okay? It's time to get serious. We were gonna take over the middle building like we initially wanted to do, and today was the day. Me and Miles both went floor by floor, annihilating anything that got in our way. Luckily, due to Miles going on a mining trip to get a bunch of coal, he had a bunch of torches, so we were able to light the place up. Look at that. Safety, right? Upon inspection of the building, we decided to base out at the top floor. The zombies couldn't easily reach us, and we had the high ground on them. So if anything bad ever happened, we could just evacuate through the roof. With that being said, we started clearing out the floor because we wanted to make the room a little bigger. After that was done, we realized another flaw in the situation. Every time a storm hits us, the windows decide to shatter and completely get taken away. So that was a problem. We decided to go to the first floor and patch up the things that the storm took away from us. And there we go. The first floor has been secured. There were a couple of straggled zombies just, you know, vibing within the walls. But what we didn't realize was how annoying these zombies are. Now, they may look like your normal zombies, but they are not. I can tell you that for sure. Because look, every single time we kill one of these guys, 2 more of them spawn. They're literally like roaches. We can't kill them. I decided to play as decoy to get the zombies out of the first floor so that Miles could finish up any revisions he needed to do. Upon inspecting the rest of the floors, we found out that there's still 2 zombies. I trapped them in a hole and just kept them there. Look at these 2 lovers. Cute. Let's keep them together as I drop them onto the floor below. At this point, food was really becoming an issue. Instead of eating normal food, I decided to eat rotten flesh, which came from the zombies itself. This could not be sanitary. But your boys gotta do what your boys gotta do. Without any time, we once again got another storm. We decided to check out the outside and saw a little bit of a swarm coming up and decided to go right back into the shelter because we didn't want to be blown away. This is when I took the time out to start using that bow and arrow of mine. Came in pretty handy, I'm not gonna lie. You know what's funny? Staying at the base was honestly the best choice, especially with the storm. You know what Miles decided to do? He decided to go jogging for a bit, take down a tree, and then run back, thinking he wouldn't get jumped by all the zombies around here. I decided to go to the building across from our building. Miles was closer to there, so eventually he managed to get up. We decided that we liked the infrastructure of that building, and we started clearing that out just like we clear out the floor we were gonna live in. We didn't know what we were gonna do with the place, but you know, it was gonna be useful for something. Days 21 to 25, and just when all things started going well for us, you know, it was a cozy night. There was a storm outside, but we were just chilling. The storm blows me out of the window, and there I was up there in the sky, being blown around by wind all over the place. And just below me, all of the infected zombies swarming around the tornado. Believe it or not, this tornado lasted a while, right? Eventually, I managed to get out of its grasps, and it dropped me into the ocean. Sorry, I lied. Well, it wasn't really me, it was the weather. They caught me again, and I was back in the air. What made things 10 times worse was the fact that I wasn't alone, and not only were there zombies, but there were skeletons shooting me mid-air. Now, if y'all know Minecraft skeletons, these things are snipers, okay? They're like natural made assassins, bro. What the heck? By the time I managed to leave the tornado and I was actually in the water, I was at around 4 hearts. And even so, it was still a struggle just getting out of the grasp of it all. What made things even worse was the fact that rotten flesh was my main source of food. But we survived, okay? Your boy made it. That's all that matters. I reached back at the base and I saw Miles patching up some of the other floors with some blocks, you know, because we didn't want the windows breaking during the storm. But also, we ran into some zombie issues. This is how it kind of looked like. Days
26
to 30. After a long day of work, we decided to continue working. We went to the basement and wanted to just check out what we were working with there. We started mining into the wall because we wanted to set up one of the first traps of the series. It wasn't the actual one, but it was kind of like a little bit of a test to see if it would work. And yeah, some of the zombies were in fact falling into the hole, and we had easy access on killing them, just chopping their legs off, you know? And if you haven't gotten the gist yet, Miles and good things together in one spot just doesn't coexist, okay? He broke the blocks and the zombies semi got in. He blocked it off with a dirt block, but that was literally it. Here's where things get interesting. Continuing our exploration of the basement, I soon find out that there's a lever near the back. I thought Miles was pulling a prank on me or something, so I decided to bring him over and ask him what it was about. Check this out. Look. Oh wait, not that. Is that yours, Miles? What is that? It just does nothing. And without a single bit of hesitation, Miles clicks the lever. Oh my gosh. Moments later, we hear explosions coming from the distance. We come outside of our base to take a look at the calamity that has befallen us. And Miles ended up being the reason that an entire building was decimated before our very eyes. Thank you, Miles. The island just lost some property value. I think the scariest part about all of this is the fact that not only was there a decimated building, but there was literally rotten flesh all over the place. Everything that was alive or semi-alive in there, aka the zombies, was gone. But hey, let's not end it on a bad note, you know? Right afterwards, we decided to actually give some life back into the world. And by that, I mean 2 plants because we really needed food. At least I did. I don't know about Miles. Water source, dirt, a hoe, and there we go. We got ourselves a bit of a farm. That's all we needed. No, it wasn't. It was a very minimal amount. But don't worry, we had plans for a much bigger farm. But for now, we just wanted to test out the waters of it all. And this is when I got myself one of the biggest brained ideas I've had for the entire thing, right? Now, we're all aware that glass isn't very durable. So you know what I decided to do? I decided to use some of our hard-earned iron to make some iron bars. I wanted the place to actually look nice. So I started tearing down the walls and wanted to just kind of lay out everything. You know, I'm a bit of an architect. What can I say? I structure things like this. My upload schedule... upload's good. Anyways, here's the result. Looking pretty nice if I do say so myself. Then Miles decided to come up with a plan. He got a piece of TNT and he wanted to use it for some reason. So he went to the roof, he dropped the TNT onto some zombies and completely ruined one of the corners of the base. I tried placing some water to save it, but I don't think it reached the floor in time. Oh god. What's even worse is he didn't even kill all the zombies. There were still some remaining. He just went there and started looting them. And this time I did a bit of exploring. I also wanted to see if some of the other buildings had any, levers in the basement so we could get some TNT in case we ever needed it. I didn't have much luck with the buildings around us, so kind of an L on my part. Days 31 to 35. This time was more or less dedicated to Miles having a little bit of an idea for a trap. Miles being useful. We spent quite a bit of time making a little bit of a perimeter. What we wanted to do was build a moat, right? But we didn't need to put any water in there, and we also didn't want to put lava in there because we wanted to use it for XP as well. What's even worse was during this process there was a huge storm that was going on outside. Luckily for us, it kind of moved away some of the zombies, but once the storm started ending, that's when the interruptions came in. But eventually we managed to, somewhat make a bit of a moat. We needed one last finishing touch, and that's just putting trapdoors on the sides. If you guys didn't know, zombies don't actually know whether or not a trapdoor is a full block, so they just walk straight into the trap, and that's exactly what we needed. For that, we also needed a bunch of wood, so I went out of my way, looked for some trees, and started chopping them down. While doing this, I also noticed a bunch of structures and buildings around me and wanted to take a look at some of them, Maybe, just maybe, I might get some good loot on the chests, so why the heck not? And this is exactly how the thing looked like after we placed all of the trapdoors and the zombies were just walking right into the trap. This was beautiful. This was innovation, okay? We were upgrading our lifestyle, our life choices. We were better people. I wanted to improve on the idea as well. Like, yeah, I was feeling a little bit safer, the fact that there's that there. But what if there's a storm, right? What if there's a storm and the zombies get blown into the base? There's not really much of an elevation within the land, so why not make ourselves a little bit of a gate? That's exactly what we started using a cobblestone for. We made a bunch of cobblestone walls and started making our lovely wall itself. Look at that thing. Yeah, we built that. Afterwards, we went inside because there was another storm. Go figure, right? Days 36 to 40. We dedicated a bit of our time into making a fully functional farm. We realized that the food situation was pretty bad as it is. I had like 53 raw and flesh, and honestly, that's been carrying me throughout the entire freaking series so far, and that's just ridiculous. So we made ourselves a little bit of an agricultural revolution. We placed it on the building that's actually across from our building, and I also took it upon myself to start making a little bit of a bridge. I wanted to feel twice as safe when crossing between these two buildings, so I decided to make myself a roof as well on that bridge, and this is what it looks like. Oh, and also, this is what the farm looks like. It's looking pretty nice so far, It might take a bit for it all to grow, but listen, okay? Yeah, boy's a botanist now, okay? That's what's up. Now, I know what you're thinking. Adrian, how is this gonna grow without any sun? Well, listen, okay? The windows are open. It's gonna do some photosynthesis stuff, and it's gonna go through the window and, neutronize the seeds or whatever, whatever it does. So yeah, I'm a pretty professional botanist. I know. Don't freak out too much. The next few days we spent mining. We didn't really have many resources to work with up above, and so we needed a bunch of stuff. It didn't take long, and we finally found ourselves at a ravine. Now, ravines are really resourceful. There's a lot of stuff we can get from these. The primary things I wanted was materials for a gun. Because, there's no zombie apocalypse without us having a gun. They go hand in hand. It's a bundle deal. Days 41 to 50. We're still on this mining trip. A lot of it was actually looking through a bunch of crafting recipes to see what I can do with certain ores. But there was a bunch of them, okay? There's a bunch of ores. But what caught my eye the most is this little bit of a biome we found down here. Yeah, you heard me right. It was sick. It was a mixture of the colors purple and green, and honestly, that cave alone had so many diamonds, emeralds, gold, all you could possibly want from vanilla Minecraft in it. It was ridiculous. And it seemed that I wasn't the only one that found it because Miles was not too far away from me and we met up again. But I'm pretty sure I took the majority of the diamonds from here before he even got here, so he took the L on this one. I also collected a couple of these. I didn't really know what they were for. They look kind of cool, so I kind of wanted to use them for a build or something later on in the series. After the mining trip of ours, I decided to head back and start smelting a bunch of the ores that we had. And that's when I thought of a brilliant idea. Okay, hear me out. We got an entire base, right? We got an entire wall. We got the trap set up. What if we set up security cameras? Because I want to know if there's any infiltrators. If there's any zombies, whatever happens, I want to be able to know. And I wanted to make a whole bunch of these things. I looked into the recipes and got to work. One of the major ingredients I was missing was also glass. I had to get quite a bit of that. And there we go. We got ourselves the first security camera of this series. Let's freaking get it. I showed Miles, and we decided to put it somewhere. And there we go. This is what it looks like in the camera view. Pretty sick, right? Now that I found out how to make it once, making it a bunch more times was a piece of cake. We just needed the materials for it. So all I did for the next few days was go back into the mines, collect the resources I needed, and just keep on making a bunch of these. Then I placed these little guys all over the place, and I was pretty satisfied with the results. I went back inside and Miles was working on an enchantment table. He also set up the books and stuff for us. So y'all already know what your boy had to do. Make his armor real nice and shiny. That's what we do around here. I think one of the luckiest enchants I got throughout this entire process would probably be my feather falling 3 boots. Like, the amount of times Miles is going to push me off of a building and I'll be able to survive it now is immense. I don't even need a water bucket, but I'm gonna keep a water bucket on me just in case. The food supply of ours wasn't doing too well because it took a while to actually grow the food, so I went in the basement, started chopping down some more zombies, and started eating their rotten flesh. Oh, and also, I also did it because I needed a bunch more levels to actually enchant everything. I didn't have that much in the beginning. Days 51 to 55. I wanted to regain some of the experience levels that I lost, so I decided to go exploring a bit to see if I could find anything out of the ordinary. After I got back from my little trip, Miles decided to show me a little bit of something he was working on, you know, some top secret stuff. I thought it was gonna be a worm or something, you know, something silly that he found on the floor, but nope. It was a gun. We didn't have any ammo for it, but it was honestly a start, you know. I also went on my routine scout throughout the city. Now I found a little bit of something, but I don't want to tell you guys what I found yet. And when I say this thing's a game changer, I mean this thing's a game changer, okay? I want to tell you guys later on when we actually need it, so we're gonna keep this one top secret as well. Now this is where things got a little weird, because once I got back, I started looking around the bottom looking for any zombies, any invaders, anything like that, while Miles was working on making us some ammo. And I decided to look over at some of the buildings in the distance, and I noticed that there's a silhouette just standing there, watching us. I quickly brought Miles up to take a look at it himself. When they found out that we were looking at them, they completely ran off. We wasn't gonna just let that happen. So Miles was already done with the ammunition. We had a lot to work with, so we chased after them. But by the time we actually reached the building that the guy was at, he was completely gone. There was no trace of him. He also broke the ladders down, so we had to find a different way down from the building in the first place to even get back. Stupidly enough, we look over at the next building over, and we see them at the very top once again. This is actually just a goose chase. What are we doing? But whatever, man. We were gonna throw some hands, okay? We got ammunition. There's no way we could lose. As fast as we could, we scurried over to the next building. But right when we reached there, he was already gone. We looked below us, and Miles noticed that he was running off. I tried my very best trying to shoot him down, but none of the bullets actually hit. He was right there, right in front of us, in our grasps. We chased him through the middle of the city. There was no escape for him. We had him, or so we thought. He ran into this building, but instead of having a wooden door, this building had iron doors. It was a little suspicious. Before entering the building, I stacked up on a little bit more wood and also got myself some food. We did not know what to expect from this building. We were already sus of it from the very beginning. But by the time we got there was also a storm brewing, so we really needed to go inside somewhere. There were so many zombies coming from the next building. It was ridiculous. It was a huge swarm. Miles decided to distract them while I tried to get that door busted open. And legit, when I tried giving Miles some of my ammo, the door exploded. Oh my god. Oh my god, Miles!
What the hell? What is that? Zombie? What the hell is that?
Miles, those are not normal. That is not normal.
Dog zombies or something, cat zombies.
Cat zombies.
I don't know.
They were literally everywhere, swarming us. On the trees, right besides us, coming from that one singular area. I don't know how the person that we saw actually went in there. All I do know is this is what we have left. We tried fighting them off, but there were honestly way too many of them. Me and Miles had to back off. I thought about it for a bit, and this could honestly spread throughout the entire city. We had no idea how these creatures function. With that being said, we kept our distance and tried killing off some of these. But they do a buttload of damage, so we honestly just had to back away. This was gonna be a grave mistake later on. We climbed one of the buildings just to get a bit of an angle on them because they were following us. These creatures can climb the buildings like there's no tomorrow. We legitimately had to book it home. I jumped off of that building, landed in the water, and said screw it all. I just booked it straight home. Days 56 to 65. Alright, listen up, okay? We weren't feeling safe, not at all, with those creatures roaming around the city. So, you know, the security cameras, it's finally coming into use because if anything like that happens again, we're gonna know. And secondly, I was a little concerned. What happens if they finally manage to reach our base? What are we going to do then? So I decided to make a little bit of a plan to make a fallout bunker in the nether. So not even in this dimension. We would go through the nether and the bunker would be in the nether. That's as safe as things are gonna get. At least for now. An idea that Miles had was to make a glass dome around the entire infrastructure. We both decided to, go on our separate ways and find a bunch of sand. After we do that, we meet back at the base and start smelting some of that up. But listen, okay, while that was smelting, I was just straight up paranoid. I was just looking building to building, looking for one of those creepy crawling things to just lurk its way up to us. And I was just on the lookout. I wasn't having it. Your boy wasn't gonna be caught lacking, that's for sure. The first thing I decided to do with some of the glass was make sure that our floor, where the chests were, where the beds were, that was all secured. So we covered that up with glass really quickly. Obviously, by this time, we didn't have all the glass we needed for an entire dome to surround our building. So we just made do with what we can for now, just so if some of those creatures managed to get to us, they wouldn't be able to seep in through any holes, okay? So we had to make sure that the base was 100% secure. In the next few days, we just focused on a bunch of ammunition and making sure the place is secured. I was just sitting on the camera, eating some McDonald's. I was chilling, not much was happening. But what I did manage to witness was one of the creatures managed to creep into the area. We freaking called it, dude. It crawled out of a window, looked at our facility, and completely booked it. Probably to tell his friends. I went down to check on Miles, and he made ourselves a weather deflector. Now this thing is overpowered, okay? The weather and how it like moves blocks and just spins them around like there's no tomorrow? Yeah, that's not gonna happen anymore because we got this little buddy. Yeah, we're safe. What we build here is safe. So with that glass dome, it's not going to be flying off. But on to more important things. There were a couple spots that we missed in the base, and we decided to patch them up really quickly due to the situation. Now, the rest of the time within this interval was actually spent mining. Why was I mining? Because I needed lava. I needed to make obsidian somehow. And the only way to get obsidian that I knew of was to put water and lava next to one another. So this took actually a lot longer than you'd expect. Let's just say, as usual, if you guys have watched any of my other 100-day videos, my luck isn't the best. Aw man, what'd I do for some dream luck right now? Day 66 to 70. I finally reached the base again, and we went straight to the basement, because that's where we wanted to place the nether portal. We felt like it was a pretty good place to put it. And there it is. I checked the cameras one last time just to make sure nothing was going on, and we went into the nether. Now, going into the nether, I didn't expect much besides the normal nether, right? Luckily, there was a bit of a change. I'm not sure exactly how to word it, but there was this stuff going at the top of the nether and these little stalactite things. I don't know, it looked kind of cool to me. But we were also not exempted from the fact that there's a zombie apocalypse going on in the nether too. So, putting that out there. And of course, we shot him down dead. What else would we have done? Let's be real here, they had no chance. But do you know what did have a pretty decent chance of killing me? These things. Yeah, you were looking at them. They're invisible, okay? They're just chasing me invisible. I shot at them, I hit them, they exist, okay? I just can't see them. I decided to explore a bit more, and I managed to find myself these obsidian spikes. Now, this was new. This kind of looked cool, I'm not gonna lie. In our journey exploring the nether, I managed to find ourselves a nether castle. Yup. We found one of these things, boys. I think the worst part about everything is there were also invisible mobs that spawned in there as well. I didn't actually know what mod this was from. This was very weird. So I just decided to shoot wherever I felt like I was taking damage from. It was actually ridiculous. I explored a bit and soon realized that it was a little bit too deadly for my liking. I decided to leave the castle and went in a different direction. It didn't take too long to find the next zombie herd, but this zombie herd was kind of weird. It was looking a little like a Beyblade. I shot him dead. But you know what almost shot me dead? This freaking bandit that was just in the nether for some reason. Man had like a shotgun or something. It was ridiculous. I had to do the dash to get out of this one. And if it couldn't get any worse, I found these weird salamander lizard looking things, okay? They were just roaming around in a pack. It was kind of weird. But you know what? At least I can see them, unlike some of the other mobs in the nether. So I decided to just shoot them down. Then I found some ones with a little bit of a staff. It kind of looked like Mr. Shifu from Kung Fu Panda. Let's be real here. Killed some more of these invisible guys, and I went back to the portal because we actually needed to start on the bunker itself. I decided to also mine a bunch of netherrack, so I had the stuff for it. Smelted all of it so I could get a bunch of nether brick and make it into, you know, nether blocks and made the bunker. There it is. I would have showed you the process if it wasn't just a gigantic cube. So let's just ignore my bad building skills and let's head back out of here. Wait, almost forgot. I had to make a little bit of a trap because the zombies came into the bunker unwanted. So I used the trapdoor and used the same method we used for the trap, you know, in the overworld. Day 71 to 75. Once we finally arrived back into the overworld, Miles was there to meet us. Look at him, he looks really stupid with armor on. You can't even see his eyes. He's like a moron. Now, while I was spending a lot of my time in the nether, one, making the bunker, and two, just exploring the heck out of it, Miles actually decided to come back to the nether portal and start working on that glass dome we mentioned earlier. And he actually managed to encase the entire base in glass. Like, what? That's crazy. But it didn't just end with our base. He also got the bridgeway up until the farms. Like, everything was dumb secure. I feel a little bit better now. The fact that we have this little glass dome protecting us, we were chilling, you know? We were unstoppable, to be honest. For some reason, there was a little bit of a spider infestation and we didn't want them laying eggs, so we shot them dead. We went to sleep, but next morning, something interesting happened. I opened up my little camera device that lets me see all the cameras, and one of them was obstructed. And I know I didn't break it, and I don't believe Miles broke it. So that just remains, who the heck broke it? And then we hear a gunshot.
Hello?
Oh my god, what was that? Miles comes down and we're both confused because we both didn't fire our gun. We look out at one of the entrances and find the guy. The same guy that brought us into that room with all of those creatures and let them all loose throughout the city. Somehow the culprit was camouflaged within the swarm of zombies. There were so many of them. Miles jumped out to go after him, but he got stuck in the pond while I started aimlessly shooting, trying to hit him. But instead I think I hit a bunch of zombies. And maybe Miles. But this time we weren't gonna let him go. This time for sure, we were going to track this man down. Ain't no remorse no more. There's no negotiating. There's no nothing like that. We managed to chase him down into a building. He was going up really quickly up the ladders, and we were a little worried because the last time we followed him into a building, it didn't end well. So we were a little concerned as to what he had up his sleeve. We chased him up, but it was a little too late. He was already crawling into vents. This was definitely not the first time he was here. We were a little hesitant at first, but eventually, we mustered up the courage to actually go through the ventilation shaft. And at the very end of it was a laboratory. Probably the culprit's laboratory. There was a hanging body, literally just put up there. Beyond that, there were these two dark-looking creatures that were in test tubes, and one of them managed to get out. That thing.
God. Oh, that thing there! Oh my god, there's a guy with a weird...
Oh, it's out! It's out! It's out!
Wait, did we kill it? Did we kill it? Ah.
Don't let it live! I went in guns blazing on this creature. If I had to let anything live, these two creatures would be the last things, okay? Because if we let these two things loose, that's it. The city is gone. Simon, just play the clip of us killing the Godzilla looking thing, okay? Cool. And we kept shooting the thing. Again, and again, and again. I wanted to get the upper hand, so I decided to break 2 blocks and try shooting it from the side, and oh my god, was that a mistake. It managed to get into the room that we were in, and we had to jump out of a window just to survive. Got back into the building through the ladder system, and we decided to kill off the one creature in the very beginning that we didn't quite kill yet. After that was taken care of, we went to the big guy. We went back outside and started gunning him down. And that was it. We killed whatever the heck that was. I don't got a name for it, and I don't think I'll ever need a name for it because it's gone. Long gone. You know what else was long gone? The person that led us here in the first place. Like, where does this guy keep going? He's actually like the Flash, bro. What? We decided to bounce back to the base. We don't like exploring these places in the nighttime because the zombies get much faster in the nighttime and much stronger. So we weren't gonna have any of that. We booked at home and got some Z's. Day 76 to 85. Listen up, we got that rest in, but during the first couple days, there was a huge storm going around. Remember that storm deflector that we had? So that thing was still functional, right? Except for the fact that it had a bit of a radius. When it goes out of the radius, the things that are there aren't protected from the storms, such as the glass barrier of ours, which meant we had to repair it after the storm was done. During this time, Miles went on a tornado joyride. I don't know, man. He does some weird things. While I waited, I decided to take a look at the cameras and check out what was going on. I had to make sure that nothing else happened. What else was I supposed to do in the storm? I can't even go outside. Finally, the storm was over. Everything cleared up. We began the operation we were supposed to do a while back. And that was simply just to re-explore the laboratory because we might have missed something. We also didn't know what the rest of the building was like, so we also wanted to take a look at that. We eventually reached the building, and instead of going through the normal floors, we decided to just climb some vines. This was Miles' idea, by the way, not my idea. Right when we reached the top of the building and we were about to enter to get into the laboratory, we found this huge, gigantic tree placed on top of one of the other buildings. We have no idea how it even got there in the first place. But to our surprise, we witnessed the person that's put us through all of this annoying stuff go in through the portal that seemed to be placed in the middle. And as the adventurers we were, we decided to head over to that building and go into this portal for ourselves, despite it clearly being a trap. To our surprise, once we finally got there, it was still in the tree trunk that we left it at. But little did we know, we ended up in a whole different dimension. We decided to break a hole into the tree so we can actually escape without going back to the old dimension. And we decided to take a look around our surroundings. We were hella cautious because this guy just entered the dimension and he's gone again, which means there might be something waiting for us at the end. Right off the bat, the first thing that we saw was again the zombie apocalypse. Not very different, you know? But the environment, there was definitely something going on here. Oh yeah, there was an alligator looking thing as well. I decided to shoot it. The person that brought us into this dimension and made us go through everything that we've been through so far was on top of one of the trees there. We surrounded the tree. There was no way this guy was escaping from our clutches. But then out of nowhere, this thing called the Dreadful Pete Mummy was summoned into that world. Now this thing, let me tell you, was devastating. Not only was this thing just roaming around killing things, there was also an apocalypse going on. This was not easy stuff. So this creature has the ability to leech a weird branch looking thing into your foot. I'm above you, I'm above you. Where is it?
I'm coming next to you.
I got a couple shots. I see it.
Yeah, shoot.
And it just keeps you stuck there, kind of like a cobweb. It's annoying. Not to mention, it can cause earthquakes in the entire dimension. That is mad. To even have a chance at winning this, we had to get the high ground. And even so, it started spitting these toxic cubes at us. And if it hit us, honestly, I didn't even want to know what would happen if we got hit by one of those things. We just kept a safe distance. I don't know if you guys noticed, but when we came into this dimension, our food all turned into mush. It was just gone. So the only food we had was rotten flesh. So when we started getting a bit low, we decided to just start farming a bunch of the zombies a little bit far away from this mummy. Eventually, we came back full force with a barrage of bullets until...
You keep going for that guy.
He's so close.
I'm gonna get... Wait, actually, he's gonna die.
Oh, you got him. Oh, okay.
The whole world's shaking.
Oh my
It's giving me so
god.
much XP. I've got so much XP.
The mummy was down. Another one of these weird creatures once again taken down so it doesn't mess up the city as much as it's already messed up with the apocalypse. What's even worse is the person that we were chasing is long gone now. We did not know where he was. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if I found out that the two dark creatures that were in those test tubes were from this dimension. It all started kind of making sense now. But the big question remains, what was he even after? What was he trying to do here? Maybe he's just trying to get rid of us. We had so many questions, but none of them answered. Days 86 to 90. We had to head back. We traveled a little bit far just to find them. We were also lacking food, so this made it a little bit more challenging. Eventually, we found the portal and decided to go through it. We ran back to the base just to make sure that nothing was changed. And obviously, besides the storm completely wrecking a bunch of the glass there, not much was really changed. We spent the rest of this time fixing up and repairing it and making a bit more ammo for ourselves because we didn't think that was the last time we'd ever see this guy. And we were right. Days 90 to 97. Everything was calm. You know, we got back to the base. Everything was fine. We were just, you know, creating some safety precautions like the ammunition that we made. But right when we got a little bit too comfortable, this started happening. The creepy creatures that climbs walls were all over the place. We were being swarmed by them. And not only that, but there was also a mummy. One of the mummies from that one dimension. This was bad. This was really freaking bad. Not only was the thing bad enough, it also started chipping away the base to get to us. That might help a bunch. Oh my god. What is going on? Miles?
Wait.
Miles?
What the whole bike door?
Oh, they're coming in. They're coming in, Miles.
Coming in next.
I didn't know this thing could munch through buildings. What? We went down a couple floors just to be safe for a bit because they were on the upper floors. Me and Miles were thinking of strategies. Miles wanted to blow the entire place into smithereens. Bro, what? Why? All that hard work gone to nothing? Miles really badly wanted to go into one of his chests upstairs. Apparently he was missing something that could have been crucial. So he went up there to go get it. But in the midst of going up, he got trapped by one of the claw looking things that the mummy actually has. I had to shoot the thing while Miles was right above it. The chances of me killing Miles was so freaking high. Luckily, I didn't miss my shots and I shot the creature. Alright, we need an escape plan. Step 1. We would go over to the farms and get as much food as we possibly can. Maybe even some dirt. Step 2. Get into the basement and leave through the nether into our bunker. And that's exactly what we did. So we executed it. Once we were finally there, we closed off the door. Not to mention, I also barricaded it so that nothing could get in. We didn't know what to do. Luckily, we put this thing in the basement, so I don't think even the culprit would know that we were hiding out here. We had to think about things. I didn't have that much food, and it was just not a nice biome to be in, especially when things like invisible creatures can spawn on us. So, to be honest, in hindsight, this wasn't the most safest place. Days 98 to 100. This is when I thought of the perfect plan, okay? Now, hear me out. There was this thing that I found on top of one of the buildings, okay? But the thing was completely broken. I had to put a couple parts together. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about.